I asked her to marry me.
And of course I said yes.
Wow. Congratulations.
Welcome to another episode of Movie Review, the number one show where you get to see any kind of movie reviewed. I don't care if it's a rom-com, I don't care if it's an action movie, I don't care if it's a thriller. If they put it on screen, I'll see it and I'll review it for y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, I am your host Patrick, and today we are taking a look at Hijack 93, a movie that follows the story, or basically tells us the story of the hijack that happened of Nigerian Airways in 1993 when 4 teenagers took control of a plane leaving Lagos to Abuja. Now, how well did they tell this story? Let's find out. Without any further ado, let's get into the review.
Sir, for you. Please settle down. Everyone will be taking off shortly.
Flight is ready for takeoff. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, so cinematography, there were some things that I really loved about the cinematography. And when I say cinematography, I mean everything I could see and some of the things that I could hear that were not the acting. There were some things that I really loved, and there are some things I absolutely hated. And we'll split those in two ways. First of all, when I heard that they were making a movie about the hijack in 1993, I had some trepidation. I was worried. How would they depict the aircraft? Are we going to do it well? The aircraft, the cabin, all them sorts of things. How are we going to shoot in a cabin? Like, I don't know. It was just a little bit, hope they don't make something that's going to, scar everybody and will be scarred for life. But no, they got that down to a T. The aircraft, being able to shoot in a cabin, it worked perfectly. Cinematography, as far as that's concerned, was really good. I've got to say, top-notch cinematography work in that regard, and I can't wait to see us probably shoot more stories like that. Maybe tell, something else happening on the plane in Nigerian. We could have our own Nigerian snakes on the plane type of movie. I don't know, like maybe even a comedy movie if something happened in the plane. My point is, now I know that Nollywood has the capacity to shoot films of that nature within a cabin, like show the plane in the air, all those sorts of things, and it won't look tacky or cringe. I like that. There's so much potential about that. Now, I said that there were some things that I liked, and there are some things that I did not like. This movie is based on a true life story. The movie starts off telling us that this is a movie based on a true life story, something that happened in 1993, historical, The very first thing you do, if you're anyone who watches film, you see a movie introduce itself like that and you pay attention to it, is how is this film giving 1993? I could not tell just by looking at the picture work alone that this is, if you told me that film was based on a story that happened last month, I would believe you. The costumes, the outfits that people were wearing looked modern. I'm seeing people in flannel shirts. 1993 flannel shirts. I did not see any baggy jeans in there. Everybody's jeans are fitted. 1993, I'm not sure. That's not I wasn't born by then. No, let's just get one thing clear. People should not be thinking that I'm old. But the point is, if you're going to shoot a movie and it's based in 1993, you need to make it beyond question to the audience that they are in 1993. I get that you can come as a director and explicate why someone's wearing a flannel shirt and some of the neckwear that we only started to see in modern times. I understand that you can come and explicate that, and you can want to say that, okay, for this and this and reason, that's fine. That's one thing. But I think that you have an obligation to put us in a situation where we don't even need to explicate. There doesn't need to be any conversation about it at all. Everybody's looking old. All the outfits, they're looking old. Everything is looking like the hair. Like, come on, man. I was looking for some hairstyles. I know people used to have Jerry Coil in the 1990s. I know Nigerians used to have Jerry Coil in the 1990s. I know Nigerians used to have afros in the 1990s. The boys all had fades. They had taper fades, the type of hairstyles we have today. Come on, man. 1993. What are we doing? So yeah, that was a problem for me. It was just a thing that I saw in my eyes, and I just could not let it go throughout this. It's like this 1993, even in the language. If we get to the acting, even the language, the way that they were speaking, there's no 1993ness in the accent, in the slangs, in the it's today now. It's modern boys. So yeah, that was a, you see, outside of cinematography, I've probably branched out to a couple of other things, but yeah, that was the other half of the cinematography that I had a problem with.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not your captain speaking.
Sir, please, you shouldn't be up here.
You are going to do the job of the man.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is a bomb on display. Stand up!
So, standout characters for me here, I would say Alison Emmanuel's performance as Oiwi was the most eye-catching for me. For a lot of reasons, but mostly because even just by watching, you could tell the amount of effort he was putting into it. The guy, you know, I would love to speak to him if I could meet him and we could have a conversation. You can tell when you watch this that the guy threw himself into the role. He really wanted this to stick. He really, really brought out like the emotional bits. There was no ditching. There was no, he thrusted himself into this. Like you could tell he understood the significance of the story as well. You could tell he had to do justice to this because it's not just it's not just any story. This is something that happened, and it deserved your best. So I could see that in the way he performed, and it was really good to see. It was really good to see that amount of effort, that amount of devotion. Really just picked the script up and threw himself into the story. Really nice to see. Some of my favorite scenes as well center on him. One of my favorite scene, actually, not even just one of, my favorite scene was when he sees that the Nigerian military have arrested his father because of what he's done. And they're basically telling him, you know, you release the passengers on that plane or you're going to be torturing your dad. And he goes to the stall, the bathroom, the restroom in the aircraft and has what I can only describe as a mental breakdown. Now that scene there, just that shot, it wasn't long, just that shot of him being in there and effectively losing his mind and just, you know, crying out his eyes out, that was, you know, that was intense. So that was my favorite scene.
It has to be. Burn this plane down.
That's our national airline standing there with Nigerian citizens on board.
The only English people understand is shoot and kill.
So, pros and cons. There were good things, like we spoke about. The pros, cinematography was really good. The actors gave their best, particularly Allison. He really threw himself into this. So those were the heavy pros for me. Those were the good bits. But look, you won't need me to tell you. If you heard anything about this movie, people have been saying their minds, and I've just got to add my own voice to the voices that have been speaking. There are a lot of issues with this movie, right? I already spoke about the fact that you cannot tell by watching this movie that it's telling you a story about 1993. Yeah, that's a big issue. You know, we should not be having that conversation. It should be plain as day, 1993. Hairstyles, costumes, makeup, everything is looking like how it should just, even like you exaggerate it, like exaggerate 1993, overdo it. Let's be the ones to tell you, this is a bit too old. At least by 1993, people had this, people had that. But the only thing that I used the only thing I saw that gave, okay, this is 1990s, was the fact that when people were listening to the news or what was happening, they were listening via radio, not via TV or something, which, okay, you know, but really. So that was one. Then there are a couple of other things, just a couple of other questions. A lady was sitting down in the market selling her wares, selling her food stuff in the market with her son. And her radio is next to her. And over the radio, she hears that boys have hijacked a Nigerian Airways plane and the Nigerian army is you know, going to sort out the issue. The passengers are still with the hijackers. They're trying to rescue the passengers. That was the announcement she heard on the radio. why did she start packing her wares and saying she's leaving the markets? She wasn't in any immediate danger. Nothing was happening. Like she starts packing up. She's closing her shop because they've hijacked a plane that she's not on board and doesn't know anyone that's there. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. It was complete. I need someone. You have a PhD, a doctorate, whatever. Come and explicate that scene to me. Why was it there? And there are a couple of other things as well. It did not get us emotionally invested in the characters. It tried to, it needed to, and it didn't do that. We had, the story was told in a way where you could tell the director, the way they're telling the story, they're trying to get the audience to become emotionally invested in the hijackers and to have some kind of sympathy, some kind of empathy, a desire to see the hijackers prevail in this particular story. It didn't quite do that, particularly with the guy, the one with the drawing, the guy with the drawing and the girl who was part Nigerian and part Senegalese. Like it just, the attempt at some kind of a romantic thing going on there, it didn't hit the sweet spot. So, and this is probably just a few things. I could go on, but I will keep the rest to myself for now.
Amanda.
Yes.
Trust me. If you try us, we are prepared to do whatever it takes to reclaim our stolen mandate.
This is our doctor on board!
It's hard to tell people not to watch a film, so I won't tell you not to watch it. I just say that this is not, this is probably not going to win any awards. No one is going to be handed an award for this particular movie. I think for its significance, for the fact that it's based on, a true life thing that happened. There are a couple of people that I know that didn't even know that such a thing happened in Nigeria's history till this movie, and that piqued their curiosity. So yes, for that alone, I think it's watchable. It should be watched for that alone. But if you're expecting to see anything that would be racking in any AMVCAs or anything like that, this is not that film. I think I've delivered the message. You're welcome.
Mayday. We have hijackers on board. Mayday, please advise. Mayday.